Welcome to the Understory Podcast. We're here to share innovation and products that are making our world more sustainable. Things from renewable energy to water to circular economy product to sustainable fashion. And we are really interested in talking to entrepreneurs who are making a difference in any of these areas. And today we're so excited to have Drew, who is the founder and CEO of Ecovie Water Management, to be with us here on this podcast and to share more about what he's building. Bob, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you.
So tell us about Ecovie Water Management and what you do.
Ecovie focuses on water. We are water experts, at least we like to think of ourselves as such. And we do engineering design and equipment supply for on-site water management, meaning any building. We take source water that comes from the sky, rainwater, stormwater, from inside the building, gray water, treat it, and then use it on site, recycling it and using water that's available without using water from city water or from wells.
Before we dive into more about the product, what motivated you to start this company? What's your background? Tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, I have a background in the paper industry, being an engineer, product developer, management person, and water and paper, as you may know, is very water intensive.
Right.
So I worked on optimizing water systems in paper mills for many, many years and decided to break out about 12 years ago to start Ecovie and to take that and apply that knowledge in a different way. And that's what we're doing.
Very interesting. I think in a lot of people's mind who don't have experience and they think about water, drinkable water, usable water are produced or supplied by water treatment plant. Whereas as you started describing to us, it doesn't have to be the case. And that's where Ecovie comes in and all the innovation. So now let's dive a little bit more into the expertise and the products. So just for layman perspective, like how does it actually work for the clients that you work with?
So, we work on big buildings predominantly, but some smaller buildings, single-family homes. But we'll work with architects and engineering firms to design a building in a way that it can capture water from the rooftop, water from fixtures, working on designing the system so that it will treat the water and then use it inside the building. So, for example, we may have a rainwater collection system that collects water from a rooftop, treats it, and then it's used as the primary drinking water source for the building. Or we might be capturing shower water, laundry water, gray water, and treating that to be used to flush toilets or to do other things like irrigation and so forth.
And the client's motivation for these kinds of projects and working with Ecovie is what?
Well, that really varies. It depends where you are in the U.S. It depends on a lot of things. In certain areas, water rates are very high. People might do it to save money.
Okay.
But more often, it's being done where there's a water supply issue in places like California, Arizona, New Mexico, etc., that it's needed or even regulated that you need to do things like this. Or it may be for certifications like LEED or Living Building Challenge or other certifications for sustainability.
Yeah, and are you working with predominantly U.S. companies, or you also have clients outside of the U.S.?
Mostly in the U.S. We do have a few projects that have been outside the U.S. For example, we did a rainwater, gray water combination project for the World Bank in Kabul, Afghanistan, but mostly inside the U.S.
And to implement one of these projects, just for our audience benefit, what does it take in terms of skills and talent? Is it engineers, water experts, architects? Like, give us an idea of how you actually bring Ecovie to fruition at this large scale, complicated and complex system of buildings and infrastructure.
Yes, I think I understand what you're driving at there. We're predominantly the kind of the engineering side of things, so we work with engineers, but also we interface a lot with the architect, the construction firms to make it easy for installation, and then take things basically from the very conceptual phase to the actual startup and the system's actually working. So there's a lot, you can imagine, different skill sets required to make that happen.
Okay. And you focus on water, and you mentioned at the beginning that water is scarce resource, and probably more so than most people realize. And from your perspective, when you talk to clients or vice versa, why is water a pressing issue? Why is it a crisis in parts of U.S. and in the world?
Well, it certainly is the scarcity side of it, and it's changing in many places where it's becoming more scarce. But on the other side is on the discharge side. A lot of what we do, we prevent stormwater runoff or discharge from buildings. And in other parts of the U.S., for example, where I am, here in the Miami area, it's more about discharge into the Biscayne Bay, where we might be contaminating the water, and it eventually will be a water scarcity issue. So there are those two kind of things where the water scarcity, just because it doesn't rain very much or the aquifer's becoming dried up. But on the other side, on the discharge side, putting dirty water into our waterways. And what we do impacts both of those. Got
it. And you talk about both in residential and commercial infrastructure. So for people at their home and wanting to do this more systematically and at a scalable level, how do they get Ecovie into their homes? Well, they can certainly contact us, and then we'd like to get involved early, generally with new building, but not always. Some can be a retrofit. And we'll work personally with whoever we're contacted with, be it the building owner or their representative, the engineer, and so forth, and figure out the best solution for their goals. The goals might be financial, they might be other things, but we figure out what the goals are, and then we find out how we can help. And what's the general business model when you work with large clients in terms of the commercialization and how they evaluate the impact of the positive impact driven by the Ecovie design and engineering of the system? So in terms of our business model, or the business model of... Your business model. Our business model is generally working with engineering firms, but then working either directly with contractors, but more often working with our manufacturers reps that we have throughout the United States to sell through them. And then they add their value added of being local, as well as other equipment that is needed for a particular construction project. So we sell generally through manufacturers reps, sometimes direct. I don't know if that's the sort of what you're looking for. Yeah, I know that you list clients such as Uber, World Bank, and NCR on your website. How are there large companies or new construction companies find you? Well, we like to think we're doing a decent job of marketing through social media and so forth, newsletters and postings and that, but also
direct contact through our manufacturer's reps. And also, we have certain certifications. For example, with our gray water technology, it has NSF 350 listing or certification. And in certain municipalities, that is a requirement. So it will automatically call us because that's a requirement in their jurisdiction.
Great. Well, Bob, thank you so much for giving us a quick view of Ecovie water management. It's very fascinating, and thank you for all your work in bringing advanced water technology to our society.
Well, thank you very much.